I have a client, first time home buyer. So she came to view a house, really liked it, and then said, I need my boyfriend to approve. He needs to see this house. So I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, well, he's the one that's going to be paying the bond. So I really need his go ahead. I was like, okay. She's like, the thing is, let's call her Beverly. Beverly is like, no, we currently live together, and where we are staying, he's the one who pays the rent. And the rent is actually cheaper than what the bond is going to be. So he is going to pay the bond. And I thought, this is so fascinating. Let's take another girl, and we will call her Sinatemba. Sinatemba works with Beverly. They both joined the company at the same time as interns. They, pretty much do the same thing. They've got the same job title, and they actually earn the same amount of money. And Sinatemba knows this because one day Beverly, she printed her pay slip, and Sinatemba went to the printer. It was accidentally there. Sinatemba's like, I wasn't looking at the payslip was looking at me. So she knows for a fact that they earn the same amount of money. Sinatemba does not understand how is it that Ubev can afford a car and expensive sunglasses and designer handbags and. What she doesn't realize is that even though their financial situation looks the same, if you scrutinize it, it's actually worlds apart. The moral of the story is that even though they may earn the same amount of money, their finances do not look alike. Hi, I'm Sibilola, the estate agent, and welcome to the channel where we put you at ease when it comes to purchasing your first property and owning your first home. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already for regular interesting facts about real estate. I deal with a lot of first-time home buyers, and if you had to ask me what the perfect avatar for that person looks like, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Some of my first-time home buyers are single males. Some of them are married couples without children. Some of them are couples that are not married with kids. Some people are in their 40s, some their 30s, some their 20s. But when I saw a report revealing what is the average age of a first-time home buyer in South Africa, I wouldn't say shocked, not surprised, intrigued. That's the word. I was just intrigued. In the 80s, the average age was sort of like the late 20s, and the numbers have been increasing since then. A few years ago, that number was 34, then it increased to 36, and now the most recent stats show that the average age for the first-time home buyer is 37. Now, that's not necessarily the right age to buy. It is the average age. And I think there's a lot of interesting reasons why this number has been bumped forward and why the age is becoming later and later. I think for starters, the cost of living is making it a lot harder for people to get into the property pool. I mean, when I bought my first property, the rand was trading at about maybe like 5 rand 50, 6 rand to the dollar, something like that. I'm not lying. And the petrol price was about, I think it was like 6 rand a liter. I bought in a complex, and the levies were about maybe like 600 rand. And back then, if you were paying levies, you didn't have to pay rates. So that was sort of like the only monthly cost with regards to like rates and levies, right? I sold that property last year, and I was paying close to 4,000 rand on a monthly basis. I think it was like 3.8 or something like that. I know that this is quite a wide stretch when it comes to time, but even if you look at how much the price of food has gone up over the last 5 years, the price of electricity, you'll really see why it is so difficult for people to get into the property market and buy their first home. I think another reason is that as laws are easing up around working across borders, young people don't want to be tied down geographically. So if somebody might, dream of working perhaps in Switzerland or something, they don't want to find themselves in a position where they first have to sell a property before they go, then they can just go at the drop of a hat. We also live in a world of vision boards and affirmations and visualizations. And I'm saying that because people are now very assertive about their dreams. When I was younger, people, you might find somebody who says, oh, I dream about one day working in Dubai, but let me buy a house in case that dream doesn't come true. Whereas young people now are like, listen, I want to work in Dubai. I am not going to confuse the universe. I'm not going to make any decisions that are going to hinder me when that opportunity comes around. I am going to Dubai and that's it. I'm going to work there, and they claim that as their future. So when you want something like that, you will not make a decision that's going to tie you down. Another reason I think is that young people are getting married later in life. Say I'm dating a guy named Devante, and we are both 31 and we are ready to move in together and buy a house. But I'm like, sorry, my friend, I am not going to be moving in and buying a house with a man that I am not married to. So at this point, even though we are ready at age 31, he now needs to, let's say, come up with the money for lobola, then we need to pay for the traditional wedding and the white wedding, then only purchase the property. By the time we're actually ready to buy the property, we are now 34 because we got delayed by this wedding, even though we were actually ready at 31. And there is, of course, peer pressure. We see people who we consider our peers to be living in lavish homes, and I'm like, I can only afford a very basic house, 2 bedrooms, kokasi, that's it. And we feel, I'm going to use the word embarrassed. We feel embarrassed that we cannot afford what the people that we went to school with, the houses that they can afford. We compare ourselves with people on social media. So ultimately, what do? We delay getting into the game. Maybe you're watching this right now thinking, okay, I hear you. These are the reasons why people are buying when they're older. But what does that mean for me? Does that mean I'm too old? I'm too young? Like, should I be waiting until I'm older? Have I missed the boat? Are you saying I should wait until I'm 37 to buy? Like, where is all of this going? I'm trying to say there is no magic number. There is no ideal. There is no perfect. You compare yourself with yourself. If Sinetemba had decided to buy a property just because Beverly had bought one, she would have got herself into a lot of trouble because their financial circumstances are not the same, even though they're earning the same amount of money. Once you have secured your career and you've got a stable, steady income which you can maintain for years to come, that is the perfect age to buy, despite how long it takes to get there. When you look at your finances and draw up a budget and look at your expenses and say, I can afford the costs of buying a house even with the current expenses that I've got, that is the perfect time to buy a house. In fact, the most common purchases, the bracket of house prices for first-time home buyers is between 350,000 and 700,000. And that is actually the category where people fall into for first home finance, otherwise known as the FLISP subsidy. So I've recorded a video about it. I'll put the link in the description. So basically, don't compare yourself with other people. It's very common for people to buy properties at the prices of 400,000-500,000 rand, right? So what you need to do is take advantage of this first home finance subsidy while you've got access to it if you meet the criteria. Because once you fall out of that income bracket, you will not be able to take advantage of it again. So you can always buy something now and then upgrade at a later stage. But once you fall out of that income bracket, you will no longer be able to access that subsidy. If you are 33 and you feel like you are behind your dreams when it comes to purchasing a house, don't stress. If you are 41 and you still have not bought a home, don't worry. The average is 37, not the maximum. There is no perfect age. Buy when you're ready. I'm very curious to hear Before you watch this video, what you would have assumed is the average age that South Africans are purchasing their first property, and also share in the comments below what you feel or what you think about the fact that the average age is currently 37. And whether or not you are close to that age, it's never too soon to prepare yourself for the home purchasing journey. And these videos will certainly help you get there.